Yai rai rai yai ro. Yai rai yai rai rai ro. Yai rai rai yai rai hai o. Yai rai rai yai rai rai ro. Yidarai, yidarai, yido. Yidarai, yidarai, yido. Yidarai, 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 yo. Welcome everybody, Shabbat Shalom. That nigun is called the Sheves Achim nigun, and I like it for Kabbalat Shabbat because it's, Kabbalat Shabbat is this service that's supposed to sort of help us ascend towards Shabbat. We come from the mundane, everyday week, and we're really trying to move to a little bit of a different place spiritually for Shabbat. And I like that nigun because it does ascend, but it's not like it's a straight shot. You ascend and then you step back a little bit, and then you ascend a little more, and then you step back a little bit. And that to me feels much more like the reality of what it's like. So thank you for being here with us to do our spiritual climb. Rabbi Lauren is enjoying a well-deserved vacation. She went out to Utah with her family to do some hiking out there, and she will be back with us next week. But for this week, you get me. I'm Amy Robertson, Rabbi Ellen Nemhauser, Dr. Jeff Nemhauser, here with you for Kabbalat Shabbat. So we will begin on page 11 with L'chuna Renana. L'chuna Renana l'Adonai Nariya Mitzor Yishenu Nekadma Panav Betodah Biznirot Nariya Lo Yadai Yadai 40 shana akut bedor va'omar to'elahem vehem lo yadu drachai asher nishbati ve'afi im yavon el menuchati. Page 13. Shiru Ladonai shir chadash, Shiru Ladonai kol haaretz, Shiru Ladonai bachu shemo, basru meyom leyom yeshuato, tzapru bagoyim kevodo bechol ha'amim niflotav ki gadol Adonai umulav meod norahu al kol Elohim ki kol Elohei amin elilim Adonai shamayim asa hod v'hadar lefanav oz v'tiferet b'mikdasho havul Adonai mishpachot amim havul Adonai kavod va'oz havul Adonai kevod shemo Tzeu mincha uva'u lechatrotav yishtachavu l'Adonai b'chadrat kodesh chilu mipanav kol haaretz imru v'goyim Adonai malach aftikon tevel ba'al timot Yadin amin be'nesharim Yismuchu hashamayim betagel haaretz Yiram hayam umlo Yalosh sadai bechol asher bo אז ירננו כל עצי יער לפני אדוני כי בא לשפוט הארץ ישפוט תבל בצדק בהאמין באמונתו יאללה 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 Page 16, 4 lines up from the bottom. Or Zeruah la tzadik u'yisrael simcha simchu tzadikim b'Adonai ve'hodu lezecher kodsho. Page 18 at the top of the page. Hariul Adonai kol haaretz, pitchu v'ranenu v'zameru. Zamru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra. Lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel v'tzedek v'amim b'misharim. Page 20. Romemu, 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 Adonai Eloheinu. Romemu, 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 Adonai Eloheinu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Romemu, 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 Adonai Eloheinu. Romemu, 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 Adonai Eloheinu. We have arrived at Psalm 29, and I will invite you to stand if you are so inclined. Mizmor leDavid, Havul Adonai b'nei Elim, Havul Adonai, Kavod va'oz, Havul Adonai, Kevod shemo ishtachavu l'Adonai b'chadrat kodesh. Kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod hirim. Adonai al mayim rabim. Kol Adonai Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover harazim, Vayshaber Adonai et arzei Havanon, Vayakidem mo'egal Lebanon, Sirion, Kol Adonai chotev lavodesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai cholel hayalot, Vayechesov Yerarot uvechalot. Kulo omer kavod, Adonai
Yashava Yeshev Adonai Melech Leolam Adonai Oz Le'amo Yiten Adonai Yivarech Adamo Vashalom Yai 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 Yai
You may be seated. So that was 6 Psalms. We went through pretty quickly. 6 Psalms, one for each day of that everyday week that we just went through together and separately. And before we sing Lecha Dodi and welcome the Sabbath bride, there's Ana B'Koach. And often we talk about Ana B'Koach as this prayer to untie our knots, which certainly we need to do at the end of our week. But this week I'm feeling it as this mystical teaching we have about Ana B'Koach, which is that if you take the first letter of each word, it spells out a 42-letter, unpronounceable name for God. So if we have the 4-letter name that you're not supposed to pronounce, but people keep trying. So they gave you a 42-letter one that you really can't pronounce. Yes, it is that caliber. It is that caliber. So when we sing Ana B'Koach, we've gone through our Psalms. We're about to welcome the Sabbath bride, and it's this moment to just to call out to the divine in this special coded way. So Ana B'Koach is on page 22. Ana B'Koach B'Koach Gedulat Yamincha Yamincha Tatir Tzerura Kabel Rinat Amcha Sagvenu Tarenu Nora Ana B'Koach B'Koach Gedulat Yamincha Yamincha Tatir Tzerura Kabel Rinat Amcha Sagvenu Tarenu Nora Ana B'Koach Gedulat Yamincha Tatir Tzerura Tatir Tzerura Kabel Rinat Amecha Sagvenu Tarenu Nora Yaira 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 Lecha Dodi Ligrat Kala Bene Shabbat Nekabela
Lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela
Shamor v'zachor b'diborecha tishmi'anu El hameyuchad Adonai echad U'shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet elitila Lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela Lekrat Shabbat lechu v'necha ki mekor ha'beracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh u'machshavat tchila Lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela Mikdash melech hir melucha kumitzehi מתוך ההפכה רב לך שבט תאמת הברכה הוא ולא עלייך חמלה לך דודי לקראת כלה
פני שבת
נקבלה sorry שבת נקבלה התנערי מעפר מלבשי בגדי תפארתך מעל ידי שתך עולמי כרן נפשי כעלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי נקרא כלה פני שבת נקבלה לא תבושי לא תקמי מה תשתוכחי ומה תהמי בך יחסו אני עמי בנתה עירתי לה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה
והיו למשים שוסייך ורחקו כל מבלייך יסיס עלייך
אלוהיך כמשוש חתן
על כלה
לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תריצי על יד איש פן פרצי ונשמחה ונגילה הולך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובתולה תוך אמונה עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי Olecha Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Nekabela Penei Shabbat Nekabela. May be seated. I want to welcome at this point Harriet Kaminsky, who is a mourner in our community. Harriet, Hamakom Yenachem Etchem B'toch Sha'ar Avalei Tzion B'Yerushalayim. May you be comforted among the mourners of Jerusalem. Amen. Cohen family, would you like to light Shabbos candles for us?
Nice. Let's go, Emmy. Come on. I need you.
I see.
You're kind of floppy.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Shabbat.
Our last psalm of Kabbalat Shabbat is on page 27. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ולזמר לשמחה עליון. טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמחה עליון. או להגיד בבוקר, בוקר חסדך, באמונתה בלילות. ולהגיד בבוקר, בוקר חסדך, באמונתה בלילות. טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמחה עליון. טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמחה עליון.
I'll invite you to rise once again and turn to page 39B, where we'll chant together Baruch Hu responsively. be seated. We'll continue in Hebrew. Baruch
Ata
atah
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kila ma'asav bayom hashvi'i, vayikra Shabbat kodesh me'erev v'ad erev, untanu menucha la'amo Yisrael likdushato, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or. Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uben laila, Adonai tzivahot shemo, El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Baruch
shemo
Shemo
Ahavim. Ahavat olam
Beit Israel,
Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot
Ukim u'mishpatim, otan limadeta.
Al kein Adonai Eloheinu B'shachenu u'b'kumeinu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem hayenu be'orech yameinu be'orech yameinu u'vahem negeh yomam v'layla yomam v'layla.
Lehavat kahal tasir mimenu leolamim. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Ve'ahavta
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך.
והיו
הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך
ובלכתך
בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך
וקשרתם
להיות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Adonai Elohechem Page 43b on the left-hand side. In 6 days your world was formed, on the 7th day you rested. And on this day Israel your people rest. To honor your name, they sing songs of praise to the one deserving of praise, willingly accepting God's sovereignty. Then Moses, Miriam, and the people Israel joyfully sang to you, as we will now.
מי כמוך האלים אדוני
Mo'elim Adonai
מי כמוך
Kamocha
נדר
Neder bakodesh.
Nora Tehilo.
Nora Tehilo.
Oh, Sefele.
Oh, Sefele.
Nora Tehilo.
Nora Tehilo.
Oh, Sefele.
Oh, Sefele.
Baruch atah Adonai Ka'al Yisrael. Page 45. Hashkivenu Adonai
Eloheinu leshalom, Hamidenu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, Hamidenu malkeinu lechaim.
Oshmor Tzeitenu
Uvoenu
Lechaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu
Leshalom,
Hamidenu
Malkeinu
lechaim.
We say words of healing, or before we say words of healing, we bring to mind those in our community who are in need of healing. Amishaberak for Yitzchak Rafua Ben Harab Shrigel Feivel, Arlene Wildstein, Vicky Flink, David Cooper, Joel Reish, Eli Nikolaidu, Yaakov Ben Rivka Hofen, Eric Genzer, Ruvain, Gary Snyder, Jennifer Parker, Josh Lille, Bracha Bakana, McCain Poe, Esther Bat Ruvain, Aryeh Leib, Ben Ida Yosef, Sasha Tanya, David, Peter, and Larissa Horbenko, Jeff Savell, Shmuel Ben Hyman Ve'ela, Shlomo Ben Moshe Ben Viti Rachel, Lucille Epstein, Sharna Bat Esther, Katya Romo, Zipporah Bat Golda, Kathy Eisenband, Stan Pollock, Orly Bat Ludmila, Yvara Bat Rumiana, Lester Sodixon, and there's other names. We gather their names, their wellness in our community to pray for them as we continue with a new-ish tune, which is Ana Elna, which hopefully you'll pick up quickly. The words are Ana Elna Rafana La, and they come from this week's Torah portion. As Miriam is stricken with leprosy, we'll talk a little bit more. We'll read it again. We'll read it tomorrow. We have Moses pleading to God, Ana Elna Rafana La, please God, bring her healing. And so we're going to sing that and have you join in.
Ana Elna Rifana La. Ana Elna Rifana La. Ana Elna Rifana
we soon be restored to healing. We're going to continue with Vishamru on page 46. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת שבת וינפש שבת שבת וינפש שבת שבת וינפש. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ילמד יברכתי וימליך מלכותי,
בחייכנו וביומכנו וחיי כל בית ישראל, בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קריב במהרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולם ימיה יתברך.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה
בריחו
לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה
תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא
במהרו
אמן. Shalom Bimroma Uyase Shalom Aleinu tevel.
Ve'imru, ve'imru.
Amen. Say shalom bimroma, say shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Israel, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru, amen.
Page 54. Eat Gadal Vikadash Shemei Rabba.
Amen.
Almani Brak Tevi Amlich Malchute. V'chayechonu Yomechonu. V'chayedecho Beit Yisrael. V'agalav Yizman Kariv Yimaru.
Amen. Yishmei Rabba mevorach, le'alam olam me'amaya yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'ishtabach v'yipar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalel Shemei L'Kudashah.
Richu.
Nami kol birchata v'shirata. Tishbachata v'nechmata dami ran me'alma v'yimaru.
Amen.
Zoton uvaton. Dechol Yisrael kadamu v'ham v'yishmaya v'yimaru.
Amen.
Shalom Rabba min Shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru.
Amen.
Asay shalom bimromav ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimaru.
Amen.
You may be seated. So a few words about goings on this week. According to a study that's conducted by the Pew Research Foundation in 2020, irrespective of which side of the aisle voters sit, they generally share a common belief. They agree that those who support the opposing candidate and any legislation have little or no understanding of people like them. Being more transparent, the study found that just 2%, and I'll give names now, 2% of Biden voters and an equally small share of Trump voters said that those who voted for the opposing candidate understand them very well. Just 2% or around 2%. This according to the Pew Research Center's November post-election survey. When asked what the other side they would like or wish that the other side would know about them, many responded that they wanted them to understand the values that led them to vote the way they do. And of course, many of those values align with their counterparts. Feelings of safety, wanting to live with freedom and human rights, tolerance for their views, safety, and on it goes. So in case you think that I'm about to launch into something about American politics, I assure you that I'm not. I am, however, going to share some strange and rather unsettling facts about politics in Israel this past week. Don't know how many people have been reading or keeping up. As a result of the political instability, the Knesset voted down a government-sponsored bill this week that would have extended emergency regulations that have been in place since 1967. These emergency regulations allow Israeli law to be applied to the Israeli citizens in the territories captured from Jordan in the Six-Day War. You know them as Judea and Samaria. In other words, should the emergency regulations expire, which they will at the end of June, the Israeli citizens living in settlements of disputed territories will lose the ability to vote. They'll lose the right to use state health care locally or to even enter into Israel. If they need a card, they won't get one if they apply for one. And there's a list of other privileges, I won't go into all of them, you can look them up, to which they are entitled by Israeli law because of this this provision that's been in place since 1967. One might say that voting against this provision, renewing this provision, because it expires every 5 years, is like cutting off your nose to spite your face. Well, it would seem so anyway to me. The member of Knesset, Miri Regev, was heard in a leaked recorded conversation this week, openly stating in clear terms that the coalition could propose anything in the world, and she used some really egregious type things, and they would oppose it on political principle, the opposition. Anat Hoffman, who many of you know as the leader of Israeli Religious Action Center and the champion for Women of the Wall, has said that during her service on the Jerusalem City Council as Meretz representative, she would suggest something verbatim in a bill to the opposing ultra-Orthodox and right-wing members, including things like terms that they use themselves, an undivided Jerusalem as the eternal capital of the Jewish people. And they would summarily dismiss it because she said it. She represents the party, of course, on the left. The Israeli Democracy Institute explains that it would not be an exaggeration to say that if the Judea and Samaria law were to expire, this would have dramatic consequences across many areas of life, both for Israelis and Palestinians, in the territories and outside them. So the main goal, very explicit in this week's rejection to renew the emergency regulations, has the goal of toppling the current government. The opposition does not even feel the need or the desire to hide it. They're being very open about it. Basically, anything they can do to stop the coalition is fair game. Perhaps Israel isn't unique. Is our world in such a political state of disarray that no matter the means, the end game of maintaining power allows people or convinces people that they should vote against their ideologies, their beliefs in what's best for the people, the citizens that they are representing? Somehow, we need to create and maintain systems where politics work in the best interests of all people, rather than in seemingly insatiable interest of people in power. We can assume that the chaos and the resentment caused by the current situation in Israel is going to lead to demands for yet another election before the end of June. And we can hope it'll be called for by the end of June. And we can hope and pray that citizens will vote to put in place a government that lays aside their personal agenda to consider everyone's best interest. So how do we cope with all this? I had the pleasure of speaking with our beloved Rabbi Mario this morning on the phone and said, what are we going to do? And also a very close friend and colleague who represents ARTSA, the Reform Movement's Israel wing. And surmising what both of them said and how I feel, I think this is the only thing we can hope for, right? We have to believe that Israel is perhaps the greatest achievement in modernity of the Jewish people, and that politics are part of the deal. It's a modern state. We can't have a state without politics. And second, it was built by people and by groups, we have to think back, with diametrically opposed ideologies and visions for what the Jewish state should look like. This is in fact the reality for maybe all of Judaism. We've survived and maybe even thrived with disagreement and opposing ideas. But we do so, l'shem shamayim, with the sacred belief that we're doing it for the sake of heaven, or with a posture of integrity and holiness. As liberal Zionist, I pray that we continue to be active and advocate for our values in Israel, and of course, regarding Israel in our own communities. And I leave you with that, and follow the politics, because they are really challenging as our own. All right, we're going to work toward a conclusion of our service with Aleinu on page 56. If once again, I invite you to rise.
Adon hakol, atik gdula le'yotzer bereshit, lo asanu kigoye haratzot, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, ולא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר
והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו We turn our Sidurim now to page 58 for Mourner's Kaddish. And invite those who are reciting Kaddish Yatom for a loved one to remain standing and others to be seated if they wish. This week, or this Shabbat, during this period of Shloshim, we call to mind Morty Gelb, the beloved brother of Harriet Kaminsky. And we also recall the yahrzeits of Anita Brenner, Rochelle Simon, Arthur Sachs, Joyce Weiselberg, Yehudit Ringler, Claire Lautner, and Sylvia Soberman. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'alma divra chirtei ve'amlich malchutei v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei l'chol Beit Yisrael v'agala v'izman kariv v'imru.
Amen.
Amen.
Yehei
Shmei Rabba Mevarach Le'olam Olamei Amaya.
Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha barichu.
Beichu.
Leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechmata ta'amiran be'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shlama Rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'imromav u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru.
Amen.
Amen.
Yehi zichronam livracha. May their lives continue to be a blessing in your lives. All righty. I think we're ready for some announcements. I don't have any. Jason, Mr. Tech. Oh, you're listening to softball? On Sunday, there's a softball game. At 4:15, there's a softball game on Sunday, this coming Sunday. And time and location on the website. And you can come if you're not on the team, because then you can cheer on the team. Services will resume at 9:15 tomorrow morning with Shabbat services and a Torah reading and the words Ana Ilna, or Ilna Rafana La. Oh, very nice. Rosaria Alvarez and Willie are sponsoring Kiddush in honor of their anniversary. Beautiful. All right, so let's
There's
be here and
Ornashim
support.
too.
And
Jason, do you know what time Ornashim is on
Ornashim
Sunday?
is on
It's on 1
Sunday,
o'clock
1
on
o'clock?
Sunday.
Building Your Own Torah with Barbara Flexner. Building Your Own Torah. Okay. Will they be in the ark when they're all built? Oh, it's part 2 of a 2-parter.
It is, but you
go
can come
go
even
to
if
part
you didn't
1?
come to part 1.
You can come and join the fun and cheer them on. All right, so lots of cheering. We're going to conclude with Kiddush, Birkat Kohanim, and we're going to end with Maya.
I got it.
You'll lead us in Kiddush.
No, I was just going to bring you the one.
Well, you can now that you're holding it. You did.
Oh, that's so nice. That's
It's really tasty.
I think we're on page 55, right?
Mhm.
I think so. Sabri.
Chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kadsho b'ahava uv'chatzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila lemikvahei kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim ki banu v'charta yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabat kodshecha v'ahava uv'ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
All right, let's grab the person beside you or not, metaphorically or literally, and we will bless one another. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
Yehi ratzon.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha.
Yehi ratzon.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
Yehi ratzon.
Ma yafe hayom, Shabbat shalom. Ma yafe hayom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Help yourself to snacks and we'll meet you out there. But I do.
I'm gonna look at your mic.
It's good to see you.
You doing all right? I'll get back to you on your email. Thank you.
Did I turn it off? Or did I forget to turn it on in the first place?
Thank you.